All right, this is Gene with GTV, and we're kicking off our first series of the coaches' interviews with Wellington Wolverine football coach, longtime coach, Coach Tom Abel. Now, just so you know, if you're a Palm Beach resident and you're a high school football fan, you are very familiar with Wellington's football program. Coach Abel's been with the program for 15 years. He's been the head coach probably for half that time, and has really established a new culture, a winning culture. And they've got a two-time district champion status, regional finals appearance, three-time Lou Groza winner. That's incredible. Three Lou Groza winners with the program. You've got some Player of the Year awards. Obviously, the Richards brothers played for Coach Abel with the Wellington program. It's a long list of accolades. But to sum it up, several postseason appearances, 2 district championships, a regional finals appearance, a school best record of 11-2 from that 2014 season. So without further ado, we'll welcome Coach Abel to the interview. Thanks for being with us, Coach.
Thanks, Gene. Thanks for having me.
So just to kind of give you a little intro on why we decided to launch GTV, through this COVID-19 epidemic, or pandemic, I should say, we've seen no sports. Who could have imagined a world without sports for more than a couple of months? And it could go longer, especially through the summer. So hopefully it doesn't. But through the last couple months, obviously with my photo business and all the content that I've been putting out, trying to come up with a way to keep the players engaged, the coaches engaged, the sports fans. I mean, anybody who's a high school football fan, just to keep, and not just football, but all high school sports, to keep them engaged. So I came up with this GTV concept and decided to run with it and see how many interviews we could get going, just to keep people engaged, to keep people interested, and to salivate for the season and for sports to get back, in the limelight here. This is what we need. It's sports are a big part of the American culture. It provides education, learning experiences. It provides a lot of opportunity for the students, as well as, teachers as well. So you guys are mentors. Dating myself back when I played, as long ago as it was, I remember my coaches. I remember my teachers. I remember what kind of impact they had in my life, whether I liked them, got along with them, or whether I didn't. We had some type of a rapport relationship, and you don't ever forget that. So anyway, not about me. It's about you guys, it's about sports, especially here in the Palm Beach County area and all of South Florida. So let's talk about, you started 15 years ago. About half of that has been as the head coach. So how did you make that transition from being an assistant with the program going into the head coaching position?
I just, over the years, I coached in Ohio, coached in Michigan, and then ended up coaching and teaching in Florida as well. And when I was in Ohio and Michigan, I always had, I was under great head coaches that always told me, take something from everybody you work with, and then when your opportunity comes, build it how you want to build it, but use something from everybody you've worked with. And that's what I did when I had an opportunity to take over the job at Wellington. I was offered multiple different jobs to go be the head coach in Northern Florida at a couple schools up there. Back in Ohio, in Palm Beach County, there was another school that wanted me to come be their head coach. And then I had to sit down with my athletic director, and she said, for me not to go anywhere because they wanted me to take over the program. So it was a lucky year going into 2012. It was December 2011, and I was offered a position. It was December of 2012 when I was offered a position. My son was just born. It was a big decision to make, and I just had to jump and run with it. And one of the first things we wanted to do, which wasn't established, I learned from every coach. Chris Romano did a great job prior to me of coming in. There was a laundry list of coaches at Wellington that did a wonderful job. And then over the years before I got there, somehow, some way, it kind of ended up being not a powerhouse school and not a school that people didn't want to stay at. My first year when I got there in 2007, the summer of 2007, there was a bunch of kids that when I came in, the first day I stepped in the weight room, I think there was 7 kids that left Wellington that summer going into that 2007 season and jumped ship and went to a private school. Then I started thinking, okay, how do we get guys here? We got to keep it exciting. And there was tons of talent when I came here.
Right.
There over the years, there's always been talented young men come through that program. And then Chris did a great job of righting the ship. He was there for 5 solid years, and he got the program stabilized, and kids ended up staying home, and they didn't want to bail ship, and they got pride in the program again. And then we just took the reins and took it to a whole nother level. And then come January, I was blessed because everything worked out perfectly during that time, because I got a bunch of young guys that got hired into the school, and they just happened to be football coaches as well. So I started piecing my staff together in January. Come late January, we went on to clinics and we started building the camaraderie. And then it just went from there. The first 2 years, we went 4-6, and then we had that magical year where we caught lightning in a bottle, ended up going 11-2. And then we had district championship, and then district runner-up, district championship, district runner-up, multiple years in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not due to anybody besides the guys I surrounded me with, all the great coaches that have been in this program that, took my philosophy and took my beliefs, and we changed it into, I wanted a college atmosphere. But the number one thing I wanted, culture-wise, and I think you're going to lead into that or ask me a question on that, is the weight room. I'm a big weight room guy. We had to lift at Wellington 12 months out of the year to be competitive. Once I started believing in lifting weights, then the tide changed, and that was those first 2 years at Wellington, being a assistant in the program under Chris Romano, and that was who we aspired to be at that time. And I kept telling the kids, what do they do to be successful? Well, they crushed the weight room, and then we started crushing the weight room, and we've had some major successful results ever since then. And
Right.
just so you know, the first time we stepped on that field back in 2013, we were like, all right, we're going to see what we can do. And we lost the coin toss. And you know me, I very rarely lose the coin toss. And we lost the coin toss, and we got the ball first, so they kicked off to us. And I had a kid by the name of Horace Odoms. The first play of my first coaching debut, he took it to the house. And then all the pressure just went off everybody's shoulders, and we sat back relaxed, and we saw we had talent, and we had, like I said, going 4-6, and then just turned the corner after that. So.
Yeah. I'm a proponent of getting in the weight room. I don't think you can, my opinion is, and having played the game, it would be difficult to sustain yourself on the field without getting in that weight room. It's a contact sport, despite being padded up. If you don't put weight on and put some muscle on, you're more likely to sustain an injury that could be career ending. So I think the weight room is essential. If you're gonna decide to play football, you've got to be in the weight room. That's the only way to try to reduce the risk of injury and try to develop some strength so you can compete with some of these bigger, faster guys. So I think there has to be a balance with the training. So I think we agree on that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm with you all the way as far as hitting in the gym. So I wanted to back up just a little bit. When you did make that transition, you took the head coaching job, and I was around when Romano was the coach. Was there a difference in the offensive schemes? Because I know, Wellington is known to be a team that puts the ball in the air. I mean, it's a throwing team, throwing offense. You guys developed the phrase Air Wellington because you guys put the ball up, I would say, 70% of the time during a game? So that's not something that we really saw prior to you taking the head coach position. Was that something that you had planned to develop? Was that in the making, or was it something that you just kind of stumbled on, or was it a plan?
It was a plan, but it was more of athletes in the right position.
Okay, fair enough.
We ran a run-based offense under Coach Romano. It was a triple option offense. Because we had some good running quarterbacks, and we didn't have at the time, they were in the building, but the kids didn't come out. such as the athletes that can run and catch the ball when you throw it in the air. And so that was run game is what we focused on. And then when I became the head coach, the first couple of years, we transitioned over. I flirted with a couple different offenses, you know, the power I, you know, some of the triple option stuff still. But then I eventually sat down with my offensive coordinator at the time, which was Corey Clausen, and you know, he put his brain on it, and you know, he was one of the best offensive-minded football coaches I've ever been around. And
Agreed.
you know, he helped me
Yeah.
develop the offense that we have now. And then as the years went on, after he left the program, we've added more to it. But that's where it developed. You know, we got lucky going into 2014 season. I was grooming a quarterback by the name of Devin Bolden. He was a dual threat quarterback. He could run and he could throw very well. And then we had a young man that ended up coming into our door by the name of Shannon Patrick, who ended up ultimately winning out the starting position. And that was it right there. That was a quarterback we needed because he could gun the ball anywhere we wanted to on the field. And then that's when we decided, hey, this is our main offense. We're going spread. We're going air raid. We're going fast as much as we can. Try to put multiple points on the board, and we did. I mean, we've been successful for that for a few years now, and you know, it's hard to stop. And I'm a firm believer. I'm a former offensive lineman for college, and everybody's like, well, you don't like to run the ball. No, that's not right. I love to run the ball, but I love to run the ball when the offensive pass game opens up the run game, and then we can gash them. And you know, anybody who knows me and has played against me has seen that over the years where, you know, we're going to get vertical on you with the ball down the field, and then all of a sudden we're going to hit you with a big run and gash you. And you know, it's been very successful for us. And so that's how it developed. It developed from just testing out a bunch of things and just getting the athletes to come out to play football and putting them in the right position to be successful. And you know, that's where we're at right now.
Some great memories with some great quarterbacks. Shannon the Cannon, I think right, Shannon the Cannon, that's what they called him.
Yeah.
Throw on a rope. And you had Blake Deaver, Ben Schmickley. I mean, you had a run there of some great quarterbacks that could really zing the ball. So how did the onside kick? You guys are known when opposing teams come in, whether you're on the road or when they come into the you know, Wolverine Stadium, they know you guys are going to onside, yet you guys still manage to recover a good percentage of your onside kicks. How did that come about?
I read a book a long time ago of a coach, I believe in Colorado or somewhere. I can't remember the name. I have to look it up in my library, but he never punts, and he's always an onside kick specialist. And then he told me about the percentages. I started looking into it more. And then the backpedal a little bit on that, when I took over the program in Wellington, I had a big-time kicker. His name was Nick Rabinowitz, and he was a big lefty. He was about 6'5", and he didn't stay with us very long. He went to a private school. So then I was in need of a kicker. So what I did was I went to our athletic director, and I asked her if I could get the rosters for the JV and varsity soccer kids. And I called them all to my office individually, and I just asked them, can you kick a football? And they said, how? And I said, either punt or, you know, can you kick it through the uprights? And then I just so happened to get the goalie walked into my office. His name was Alex Ing. And Alex told me he could do both. And I said, okay, well, I'd love for you to come out and play football because we're in need of a kicker. You could possibly start. I don't have to worry about you running. I don't have to worry about you doing anything. You just got to show up. If it interferes with soccer, whatever. And he was all in, and he ended up, balancing it out where he was more football. He ended up going on playing college football. Everybody knows that. And he won the Lou Groza, which is a high school kicker award. But it came about, I was thinking about it, dabbling with it. We were working on some special stuff one day in practice. And Alex came up to me and said, Coach, I can onside the ball. I said, well, here's different onsides. And I talked to him about it, and I said, this is the one I want. And he gets up there and he kicks it, and, it rolled the ground and got a big bounce like we normally do. And I was like, oh, okay, let's see you do it again. And then we worked one side and we worked the other side, and we kept working it. And then we put the sky kick in there, which went 10 yards in the coffin corner too, and everything like that. And so it just it evolved from there when we did that. And then we put our best receiver on the side. And you ask us why we get it. Well, it's very hard to defend when you got, 3 Lou Groza kickers that can come in, work on onside. And they
Absolutely.
know that
Fair
Coach
enough.
Abel, yeah, they know that I want the onside, and so they're going to come in and they're just going to practice that as long as they can kick it through the uprights and give me some onside kicks. We're good to go. Plus, then my philosophy also changed where my special teams is part of my offense. Where if I can onside the ball, if we just had a scoring drive, we scored, and I can onside the ball, get it back. There's an extra possession that we just
Right.
put on our hands of our offense, and you're going to onside the ball. Usually get it about midfield, so now you're about to 50, and now you got 50 yards to get it in the end zone again, and then we do it. And there's been a few times where we did it back to back to back to back times and put it on the ground and recovered the majority of them. And those were some really, really outstanding games that we played in.
Yeah, I can recall a couple of games where you recovered 3 in one game. I mean, that's unheard of. And if anything, you're at least guaranteed maybe a field goal or an opportunity to get a field goal if you get inside the 40, especially with 3 Lou Groza kickers. So that's a nice weapon to have. Uh, so what do you think your best or most memorable moment was so far in your tenure as a head coach at Wellington?
I could go on and on. I got a lot of them.
That's a vague question. There's probably several, I'm
There's
sure.
multiple ones, but one that stands out was, we played another one of our arch rivals the year we were very blessed, won 11-2, and we played Palm Beach Gardens for the district championship that year and beat them. And then we got them second round of the playoffs because we played a very worthy opponent the first game, which was Park Vista. And, Park Vista came into our place, and we ended up getting the win out of that. And then we went week 2, where we ended up playing Gardens, and they were driving late in the game. And we had a player by the name of Michael Howard, and Mike went up and tackled the quarterback from Palm Beach Gardens and hurt his wrist, and he went out of the game. They brought another quarterback in by the name of Devin Studstill, and just so happened that things fell in line and all that fun stuff where they snapped the ball over Studstill's head, and we had a young outside linebacker. His name was Christian Goss, and Christian came in and he slid on his hip and scooped up the fumble, and game was over. And I've never seen a place explode in all the years that I was at Wellington as an assistant coach and a head coach like it did then. It was just big time pride for the town, the community, that we were going on to the regional finals. And, it's something that the school hadn't done in forever, but that was that young man got that fumble recovery, and those guys played their hearts out and all that. So that was the most memorable moment when, we ended up going on to, deepest they've ever been in the playoffs in that high school history was on that play.
I remember that play. I was there. I think I captured it from the sideline. I actually was covering it for the news as well.
Yeah, you got a great picture of it. Yes.
That was that was a very memorable moment. The crowd went into a frenzy for sure. That was incredible. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the Richards brothers. It's not often that a football program gets blessed with having brothers that come in and make such an impact to a program. So talk a little bit about what it was like coaching them and seeing them develop.
I'm going to tell you, the family, the whole entire family. I mean, you talk about classiness, classy people. Those people are unbelievable. They've been a great part of my life and our family, and we talk to them, regularly. But Amon and Mark changed the face of Wellington football. And what I'm going to say about these two young men is that they had other opportunities to go other places. There were all kinds of schools pulling at them to go here and go there and do whatever. But they're loyal and they're hometown boys, and they wanted to play for their hometown. And look what happened when they did, And that just tells you what their character is and who they are and what type of people they are. And they're going to be very, very successful. I know Amon is very successful. He's got his own sports agency. He's a
Right.
agent. And Mark just came off a healthy knee surgery at Auburn. And as a matter of fact, a couple of days ago, I just talked to one of his coaches, and they're expecting him to blow up the country when we can go back. And words can't say enough. All we had to do in them years that they were there was just get it in their hands and let them do something. I take no credit for their ability or nothing like that. It was just they made us look good because of what their God-given athletic natural abilities are, and they're probably and there's going to be a long time before I see two individuals like that come again. But we will coach our butts off with whoever we have. But those two young men are very special, and that family, all all in all, is going to be a part of my life forever.
Yeah, there were relationships established, so it goes way beyond football. It goes a lot deeper than that. So um, that's a good point. So let's discuss how this team entry or pregame or field entry with the Wolfman mask. How did that uh, how did that come about? Because you guys now have, I mean, it's evolved. You have, your helmet, but the mask has been around for a little while. So talk a little bit about maybe whose idea that was and where that came from, because now it's been really a long established tradition that there are a lot of players that are probably looking forward to get that mask passed on to them so they could be the one to lead the team out of the tunnel before each home game.
Yeah, we got the mask. It was a year 2014. Like I said, Christian Goss was the first bearer of the mask coming out of the tunnel, and it went to the guy that could grow the longest beard. That's how it started out. You got that grow the longest beard, and you got the honor of
In high
wearing.
school, they could do that, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was not like when we used to play. We had to be clean shaven and everything like that. Now I don't care. I want them to be tough nosed kids and.
Yeah.
But I believe it was a assistant coach or a couple assistant coaches, and one in particular, I think Chris Forte found the mask and implemented it, brought it into the program, and I think Christian Goss had a lot to do with it too. Maybe he found the mask, but one of those two somewhere along the line, it came in and they asked me if they could do it, and I said, yeah, why not? I said that'd be amazing. Let's try it out. So we ended up getting our tunnel, and that added extra incentive to now run out of the tunnel, and then we added smoke and all this fun stuff, and now we got our own entrance music, and we're getting even better entrance music, and it's just something to get the kids pumped up and fired up about this is our home field, and we're marching out and getting ready to battle it up with who's ever across that sideline. But yeah, it's pretty cool, especially when you got a guy that comes blasting out there and they hold him back like he's a wild dog, or
Right.
and then he comes firing out there, and you see him with the mask on, and that because you take some wonderful pictures. But yeah, that'll be a tradition as long as I'm at Wellington, and even if I'm not at Wellington, I'm sure that they'll keep it going forever.
Well, that's kind of been like the staple for the program as far as entering a field before a game. I mean, there are concepts that come and go, but that seemed to have stuck. I mean, it's season after season, and you can see that the players really thrive on that. So it seems to be a motivator for them. And hey, whatever it takes, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about last season. You guys were projected to, do some damage throughout the season, and you're probably in one of the toughest districts, if not the toughest district in the county. Between you and Palm Beach Central, just in the part of the Western communities, and Seminole Ridge and Royal Palm, it's a hotbed for talent. There's no doubt, and that's demonstrated year after year with the success of these Western communities teams. But last season you suffered some real adversity with early season injuries, and then the controversy with the suspension. So talk a little bit about what some of the takeaways were after getting through last season, because you guys battled back for sure. Got some wins.
Bunch of the takeaways. Well, first off, I mean, like I tell my boys on a daily basis, that's life. Not everything's going to go the way it is, and everybody wants to take the guy on top and knock him down no matter what. Everybody's always looking for, and I'll give you an example. There's a great documentary out called The Last Dance with the Chicago Bulls, and everybody's looking always for dirt on somebody. And you got the greatest basketball player of all time, and they're trying to take him out, and it never happened. But life happens, man. I mean, stuff is out of your control, and I'm very, very proud of my guys last year. Even though we went 3-7, but they hung in every single game. We lost all of our 7 games in the fourth quarter. And you can go back and look at the stat books and look at all that stuff. Fourth quarter is where we lost the games. And it was either due to poor special teams play or a missed block here or something like that. It was due to something that, it was that's the reason we ended up losing those 7 games. But you know, and then we got a suspension that was just crazy that should never even happen to our program or to myself. And I fought it and battled it, and you know, proved why it should never happen. And then it was thrown out, which it should have been thrown out a long time ago. So that hurt the boys and their confidence and everything like that too. Because I believe if I was there on some of those games we lost, because there's a couple teams we don't lose to, and we never lost to since I've been the head coach. The first time ever they got a piece of us, and so now we just had to regroup, and we've been regrouping. And I could also find out, you know, during all that adversity and stuff like that, who I could trust staff-wise and who I couldn't trust staff-wise. So you know, we went through another coaching staff change because that's the name of the game. You know, in high school ball, there's always constant turnover unless you're in small town, rural somewhere where, you know, they're all in and they're former guys and whatever. But, you know, there's just multiple things that build up. But, you know, what we can take from that is that now they have their battle scars. Now they've been wounded and tore up and scarred up. And now they can take that and make it into a positive and say, you know how it felt like that last year. So what are we going to do about it now? And, you know, I think that coming into the season, the expectations were extremely high, but I believe they sat on their heels a little bit and didn't want to chase that dream. I thought that, you know, sometimes we went into places and they thought, oh, coach, this opponent's going to lay down to us. Nobody's going to lay down to us. We got to battle. We got to fight for what we have. And, you know, those young sophomores that I had, and a lot of them that were starters, you know, and juniors are going to be older now. And a lot of my juniors are, you know, well-seasoned veterans, and they're hungry. And I talk to them all the time, and they tell us how they want to get back to it and how they want to do whatever. And I just tell them now. And I always think back to what was successful, what wasn't successful. What was successful in the past was I was always like even keel with all of our teams and won district championships and stuff, and just brought them back down every week and said, we haven't accomplished anything yet, so don't get big-headed and don't do all that stuff. So now it's like square one. All right, good, you're going to play us, but guess what? We're not the old Wellington. We're not the 3-7 team you saw last year. We're totally different, and it's going to be fun to watch. We had some guys last year that were in the program that left because they thought grass was greener on the other side, and at a different school. And it just so happens they were starters for us. We gave them an opportunity with us, but you know, 8A ball is a tough cookie to play in, and you know, we wish all those people luck that left the program and think that they can be successful somewhere else. But we're just going to keep grinding, and we just reloaded, and we got a lot better because of it. And you know, it's going to be funnier to watch. Like I always say, is going to be Air Wellington coming back, and you know, as we go on in this interview, I'll tell you why.
I kind of thought you would.
Yeah.
So how do you prepare for the fall now? Without spring ball, you know, it's basically a wash in the COVID-19 pandemic. What are your plans on managing the team, and then especially through the summer? Because we don't even know if teams are going to be able to go to a camp, if they're going to be able to compete in 7-on-7s. So how are you going to get these guys prepared for the fall season? Because hopefully we see a fall season. Hopefully there's a fall season.
Absolutely. I want to have fall. We need to have fall football, but, you know, we'll see. I don't have any say in that decision, so hopefully it's good. But
you have to prepare as if there was going to be a fall season.
Yeah, you know, and that's what we're doing crossed. Right now. We meet the kids 5 days a week, just like we are now, you and I, and we go over offense, defense, terminology, everything you can think of, and everything is recorded. Our athletic director is involved in our meeting. She sits there, and our new incoming athletic director, he sits there and listens as well. But it's teaching, and you know, we have 90-some kids in our program, and they're all fully engaged on a weekly basis, day by day, and all coaches are involved. And I got a full coaching staff, and you know, I finally got everything rolling in the place where we're at. I send out workouts to them, and I send out running to them. All we can do is hope that they can do it. And, you know, what we can keep preaching is that, you know, they're 3-7. What have they proved? That they can go 3-7 again if they don't do what they're supposed to do. That's what they can prove. But, you know, we're just keeping positive. And guys are sending me videos, and they're sending their position coach videos of them working out in a garage and, you know, going out in their yard with their brother and running routes and, you know, doing stuff with their family members and everything, because we can't get in front of them or or do whatever. We can just do what we're doing online, and that's the best we can. So if things do start, I've talked to some powers to be, and some in Palm Beach County and FHSA and Florida Athletic Coaches Association, and they're all in agreement that we need about a month. You're going to need about a month at least to get some of these kids ready to go, because you can't just throw them in the fire. Everybody knows that. That's just common sense. But
Right.
we just got to hope that everybody's engaged and doing what they need to do. And one of the carrots for us is, for us, and everybody across the county, and I'm sure everybody in the United States, fall for us is our big time recruiting season for college coaches to come in. We have a lot of college coaches that come in during practice and stand on our sidelines during our practice and videotape guys, and that's daily. And the minimum we have is 4 college coaches that come out. So it's 4 and above every day. And then the other part was fundraising. Spring is our hot season for fundraising. And now with all this stuff going on, we don't know what's going to happen fund-wise.
Good
And
point.
I don't know if I can send my guys back out to, push discount cards and things like that. There's multiple people out of jobs and stuff like that. So it's going to be tough all around. There's going to be all kinds of things we're going to face. But, the main thing that we keep telling our kids when we see them online on a daily basis is, hey, if you come in and the basic offense, defense, and everything on special teams, what you're supposed to do drill-wise, what you're supposed to do position-wise, you're ahead of the game, because then we don't have to go back and reteach that stuff. And then we just focus on winning football games, and then let me focus on worrying about everything else, like fundraising and everything like that. We should be all right. And
Right.
our kids are buying into it, and that's where we're at.
How important are volunteers at that point, especially now? Because you bring up a good point with, no spring ball. So that kind of hinders your ability to raise extra funds that are needed to go into the fall for concessions, for maybe new uniforms, other equipment that might be worn that needs to be replaced. So how important are volunteers at that point with the program?
They're extremely important. We're going to come at it. I'm probably going to have my first virtual online parent meeting, and we're going to talk about a bunch of things in our parent meeting like that. Volunteers
Right.
are crucial to the program. And then we're going to look for, another avenue, since, it's going to be hit or miss. I mean, we're still going to do all of our fundraising, but we're going to see if they actually work because of what we're going through. But we're going to push more, corporate and big time sponsorships in order to cover our expenses of what we need to this year.
Right. All right, Coach. Man, it's been a lot of fun sitting down here one-on-one with you and getting some insight on the Wellington program. Really appreciate you joining us today. So I wish you guys all the best next season. Hopefully I'll be able to get a chance to, be a part of it in some way.
Yeah, thank you. I got into a little bit of why I believe we're going to be successful again is because I got great players and great coaches around, number one. But we've been blessed with some key players coming into our program from other schools out of the county. And one is a key quarterback for us. We lost a quarterback, but then we gained one. And, we lost, a couple other guys, but we gained, a big time linebacker, fullback, defensive end. We gaining this, we're gaining that. So, and the other thing is too that, we really didn't touch on the biggest carrot of why I believe we've been successful at Wellington is I've been the head coach there 7 years, and we've gotten 42 kids into college to play college football. We work really hard, and that's one thing that I wanted to focus on was trying to change the lives of these kids somehow, some way, and putting them into college and playing college football is a way to do it. So we're still doing that, and we're doing it online now. And I do meet with coaches like we're meeting
Right.
all the time. I just met with the University of Miami staff and the other day online, and so we're trudging away. We're doing what we can, but it's not the same Wellington that everybody saw last year. We're hoping it's on the same likes as the 14, 15, 16 seasons and 2018 season. So that's where we're going.
Sounds good. Sounds really good. So I appreciate the interview, and wish you guys the best of luck, and go Wolverines. And hopefully, like I said, I'll get to cover something in some capacity with, my schedule going on, next year is kind of still unknown because of this whole pandemic thing. So in some way, I'm going to at least make that Wellington Palm Beach Central game for sure.
Oh yeah.
So
Hey, one of our new phrases this year is a new Wellington order. Let's go, new Wellington order.
All right, Coach. Good to see you, and good luck.
Thank you, sir, for having me. Appreciate it, Gene. You're amazing.
All right, Coach. You are too. Thank you. I appreciate it.